Hello there, good evening, and welcome to the Mythical Ireland Library. Welcome to Live Irish Myths, episode number 310. I am your host, Anthony Murphy. Please, Tara Brooch, join us for this adventure into the past, into Irish myth and legend, folklore, history, prehistory, archaeology, genetics, spirituality, religion, and all manner of other subjects. If you're joining us, whether it's on the Mythical Ireland Facebook page or indeed on the Mythical Ireland YouTube channel, please do feel free to join in the conversation by commenting on either Facebook or YouTube. We'll endeavour to include you in the conversation. If you're new, Fáilte, a big welcome to you. And of course, if you're not a first timer, you'll know the drill. It's a wet, damp, old evening here in the Boyne Valley. The rain is falling. And it is currently, allow me to just check, 9 degrees Celsius. So, as they say, the rain is warmer. We haven't had that much rain over the course of the winter. Less than people would imagine. So, we probably need a little bit of a sprinkling of it. It's due to get cold here tomorrow night and Wednesday night. The frost will be returning. But I am glad to say there is a grand stretch in the evenings. The sun is setting at around, I think it's around 4:35 p.m. And that's versus 4 p.m. on the winter solstice, which is, a month ago now, or the best part of a month ago now. So, spring is coming. Better weather is around the corner. Let me see. I'm just cleaning my glasses. You think I would have done that before we started live streaming, I'm cleaning my glasses and I'm managing to re-dirty them because I'm not using the cloth properly. Hang on a second. Right. Anyway, I saw that the first to comment tonight was Johnny Wilson, and he's saying it's 0 degrees Celsius in Dallas, Texas. We're 9 degrees warmer. So we have this very rare boast that it's warmer in the Boyne Valley than it is in Texas. And that is a boast because if you've been following Live Irish Myths over time, you'll know that one thing that we like to do is exchange weather reports. And Texas is generally a lot hotter than Ireland, a lot hotter for most of the year. But this is that time of year when obviously it's a bit colder. Feels like minus 14. Yeah, time to get the long johns on, Johnny. Keep warm anyway. Stay safe. Good to see you. Hope you're in good form. I think the glasses are clean now. Close. No, we do not want that. Who else? Brendan Byrne is saying, evening, Anthony and Tua. Fáilte Roth. Brendan. August. I hope things are well. Glan Da Lucha. Gunda Wicklow. Tuesday Thompson is wishing us all a happy Mythology Monday. Brilliant stuff. Tuesday. Wayne Bird is saying, evening, Anthony. Hello, everyone. Hope all's well in the camp. Ref, the fall of Babylon continued. It feels like you are diving into the depths of your human psyche to unearth the hidden treasures, demons, and with the warmth of your honesty, again, brilliantly written. Wayne is talking about the draft text of a book that I have written that's not published yet, that I am sharing page by page with patrons of Mythical Ireland at the Bronze Age level and above. If you would like to access that and more exclusive content, please consider becoming a patron. The link is scrolling across the bottom of the screen during the live stream. I will share it now just so you can click on it. And please do consider becoming a paying patron because that is what helps us to continue doing the live streams, running the website, writing books, and all of the other things that Mythical Ireland does. Thank you, Wayne, for your comments. I'm glad you're enjoying it. The next segment will be issued in the next 24 hours. Adina Sparks is saying, afternoon from a cold and windy New Mexico. Arctic cold coming through the southwest. It's 33 Fahrenheit with the winds making it feel like 22. Okay, let's translate that into European language. Oh, it's a half a degree Celsius. Wow. So pretty much the same as it is in Dallas, Texas. I hope everyone is staying warm. Yeah, well, stay indoors and wrap up and get the fire burning and put a blanket over yourself and make yourself a warm cup of tea or cocoa or who knows, a bit of whiskey. Mine is a Guinness. Okay, it's 7-Up disguised as Guinness. Fair enough, you got me. Elaine Dentlingenfelter is also in Texas, where it's 31 Fahrenheit, minus 55 Celsius. No, I don't think so, Elaine. I don't think it's minus 55. It's minus 0.55. Yes. Aha. Okay. You're missing the critical 0 point. The zero and the decimal. If it was minus 55, I would be telling you to evacuate and go, I don't know, further south. Auntie Joe Butler is in Colorado. This morning it was minus 18, sunny and snowy and cold. Well, without meaning to, as we say in Ireland, put the splaws on things or to tempt fate, I can't remember the last time it was minus 18 in Ireland. I can't remember if I ever had or experienced minus 18 in Ireland. Wow, that is cold. Linda Bird is saying, hello once again from Maryland, where it's a cool 19, feels like 9. Wow, well, 19 is, what, minus 7. Wow, it is cold over there. Feels like 9 Fahrenheit. 9 Celsius would be welcome. Hello, Linda, and I can't remember your husband's name. Apologies. I'm terrible. I'm shocking. Anyway, tell him I said hello, and please forgive me. Steve Martinson is saying it's 2 degrees in Wisconsin. I presume that's Celsius. It's cold all over the place over there. It sounds like you all need to come to Ireland to warm up. So warmer temperatures and, plenty of whiskey. I'll tell you, you'd have no problem. Paul Campbell is saying T-minus 5 days to Astrofest in Galway City on the Atlantic West Coast of Ireland. I will be there. Brilliant stuff, Paul. And I am preparing my presentation for the Galway Astronomy Festival, which is going to be a new presentation. In other words, one that I haven't given before. Okay, there'll be a lot of material that I have spoken about before, but I hope you enjoy our exploration of the ancient astronomers of Ireland, which will be the primary focus of it. I'm just going to silence my phone so that it doesn't interrupt us. Tom Lawler is looking in from the Devil's Bit in County Tipperary. Been a while. Hello, Tom. Happy New Year. I hope you're keeping well. And yes, indeed, Devil's Bit, the chunk of mountain that the devil bit out and he spat out into the plain where it became the Rock of Cashel. Brilliant stuff, Tom. And there's a connection there with amateur radio because there's a 2-meter repeater on Devil's Bit, EI2DBR, Echo India 2 Devil's Bit repeater. I know. You learn all sorts of stuff. That's on 145.650 megahertz. Paul Campbell is tagging Kevin Hines, who I understand will also be there. Brilliant stuff, Paul. Thank you for that. Tracy Durso is saying it's 4 Fahrenheit in the southern part of Ohio River Valley in Cincinnati, Ohio. 4 Fahrenheit. Now that sounds... Oh, what is that? That's minus 15.5 Celsius. Yes. So when people tell me that it's Arctic at the moment in the States, they're not joking. Hello and thank you. Hello, Tracy. I'm not sure if we've seen you before. If you're new, you're very welcome. And I hope you enjoy your time here on Live Irish Myths. I corrected it, Sir Anthony. Elaine, thank you for addressing me by my proper title. Linda Bird, Eric. Yes, Eric. Thank you, Linda. And please ask Eric for my forgiveness. I hope you're both keeping well. Rossio is saying, yay, I made it in time for the Monday Mythflix, the greetings, and the dad jokes. Oh boy, yes. A new arrival at the Mythical Ireland Library. Because, I understand that when you come on here, as well as wisdom and history and myth and legend and folklore, you're also looking for cheesy dad jokes. Well, more one-liners, jokes, and gags. So be prepared. You asked for it, Rossio and others. Probably not. You're probably all going, oh my God, no, really? Do we have to? Anyway, here in Mexico, Puebla is 20 degrees Celsius, sunny and warm. Brilliant stuff, Rossio. That sounds lovely. It sounds like you could chop a few degrees off that and share it around with our friends in the States who are absolutely freezing. As they say, it would freeze the balls off a brass monkey. It's cold. Where's the master of the forge? Well, he's here, but he's kind of not here because he's in Dublin for the showcase exhibition. And Tom will be particularly interested in tonight's topic. Well done, says Tom. Brilliant stuff. Tom, there he is. Speak of the devil and he shall arrive on your doorstep. Or speak of the giant bearded Viking-like laughing Smith. Hello, with sheepskin. Hello, Anthony and the mighty Tua. Good evening from a jacuzzi in the city. It's been a whirlwind of a time at Showcase. Glad to rest now and listen to story time. Enjoy, my friends. Brilliant stuff, Tom. Only one more day, and I presume you'll be decamping at some stage tomorrow. I hope you've been enjoying it, and I'd say you've been the centre of all the fun down there. Anyway, you'll be interested in the topic of tonight's broadcast. So, hold it there, as they say. Brendan Byrne is just going for a cup of tea. Well, don't be long. Bring it back. And why don't you make a cup for everyone, please, and share it around, you know. Maureen Joyce is saying, be afraid, be very afraid. In reference to the dad jokes, absolutely right. Teresa Collins is saying, greetings from a chilly Killarney. It's 7 degrees, but feels colder. I'm glad to be tucked in with my crochet and coffee for an episode of Mythical Monday with yourself, Anthony, and the Mighty Two. Well, we're glad to have you along, Teresa. And I wonder how things are down in Slieve Mish, where the Milesians landed first and then pushed off from the coast. It's good, always a pleasure to welcome you into the library. Snapper Earl is saying, hello, people in the sane part of the world. Hello, Snapper. I'm not sure that we would call Ireland sane, but I suppose, relatively speaking, perhaps it is. Lexi is telling us it's minus 13 here south of Denver. Hello, Anthony and the Tua, everyone. And she's sending snowflakes because I'm sure it's icy and snowy up there. Wow. Stay wrapped up, stay warm. I hope you have plenty of fuel for the fire. That's all I can say. Stupid Facebook. Finally found you. Hello, everyone. Hello, Barbara. Hello. Welcome. Yeah, stupid Facebook. Tell us how you feel. Go on. Get it off your chest. Rossio is saying, oh yes, I'll be prepared. I came to Mythical Ireland channel for knowledge, but I stayed for the dad jokes. Sir Anthony bows respectfully. Hey, Tom, stop bragging. Lolly Roxby. Richard Burgess is in New York State, where it is chilly. Might have something to do with winter. I suspect so, Richard. I hope you're keeping warm. Minus 13 Celsius, that is, in Denver. Yeah, wow. Cold. There might be a lot of charcoal floating in that jacuzzi. Brendan is saying to Tom. John Main is saying, greetings from San Francisco. Happy Martin Luther King Day. Good to be here. Well, what a pleasure, John. I don't think we've seen you this year, so Happy New Year to you. I hope you're in good form, and I know we've been chatting on other means, but I hope you're continuing to improve, and that we'll see you as a regular fixture over the next while. That could be determined by what happens next. I'm going to just randomly pick a few of the one-liners and read them. I have to make sure that they're family safe, shall I? I find mind readers really annoying, and I bet they don't know why. Oh. Coda is protesting at the jokes. I read one, and already he's saying, please stop. You know that I can't hold my paws over my ears. Okay, some of these aren't funny, but I'm going to try and find a couple of funny ones. We should have a way of telling people their breath stinks without hurting their feelings. Like, well, I'm bored. Let's go brush our teeth. When you say things can only get better, you're seriously underestimating my ability to make things much, much worse. All right, let's read the very first one. The very first joke in the book is, went to the corner shop, bought 4 corners. Why did a boy... here, I'm going to leave this, so we'll see who's the quickest one to guess what the punchline is. Put it into the comments. Why did a boy throw a clock out the window? Anne Scott Doherty's in the house. Greetings to yourself and Bill Ann. Hope you are keeping warm and it's not too cold where you are. A turf fire would be so very nice and comforting. Yes, absolutely it would. Don't worry about the typos, Elaine. We all do it. We're all human. Even you. I'm joking. Even me. Mavanwe is saying, good evening, everyone. Hope you're all well. Oh, goodness. I arrived during the dad jokes. What's worse, Mavanwe, I have a new book. Well, it's secondhand, but it's new to me. More one-liners, jokes, and gags. So plenty more where that come from. Tracy Durso says, all of my maternal ancestors are from Ireland. Through Ancestry, I've discovered much information and names of my Irish clan all the way from the 1600s thus far. I've not visited the beautiful and magnificent Emerald Ireland. Happily, my mother did visit in 2001 and had a glorious trip meeting friendly folks. That figures, because most of us are generally very friendly here, you know. So you'll have to come over, you know. Consider that an invitation extended. My teenage son threw the chemistry set I bought him onto the floor. If he thinks he's going to get a reaction that way, he's got a lot to learn. Did you hear about the old chameleon that couldn't change colour? He had a reptile dysfunction. What do you call a deer with no eyes? No idea. To see time fly, yes. I'm not sure who was first. Looks like Elaine Dent Lingenfelter. To make time fly, to see if time could fly. Brandon, Lexi, to see time fly. It was kind of really predictable, wasn't it? You know. What do you call a deer with no eyes and no legs? Still no idea. These are getting worse, and they started badly. An autobiography is a book that reveals nothing bad about its writer, except his memory. That's not funny. If procrastination was an Olympic sport, I'd compete in it later. And I used to crastinate, but then I got serious. I became a pro. My girlfriend really bugged me last night. The perils of dating a spy. Okay, that's enough. That's enough. Back to PW Joyce. Back to more serious matters. Oh dear, says Mavanwe. Yes. People are throwing rotten fruit at their screens and only just realizing now as the tomato juice drips down their monitors that in fact they're only throwing it at their screens and it hasn't in fact reached me. You'll have to wait for the live show for that bit, folks, unfortunately. Wow, a jacuzzi. Where are you? He's in the RDS, but he's probably staying in some posh hotel somewhere close by. He's treated like a king these days. Oh, never mind. These are so bad, and yet the audience participation hasn't dropped. I expected a mass exodus of people from the stream. There you go. Crastinate. Now that's funny. Yeah. So we were talking last week about religion, learning, and art, and we have been speaking in particular about gold and silver and enamel last week, and then the week before that we had introduced the whole chapter with a discussion about penwork and illumination. Tonight we're going on to artistic metalwork, and I'm hoping, if nothing else, that this inspires, not that he needs it, that it inspires our good friend Mr. King on Gowa. And only the other night, Saturday night, I think, on the Tommy Tiernan show on TV, Tommy was interviewing the singer. What's that lady's name? Is it Lisa O'Neill? Is it? I hate that when you're live and you're kind of like committed to saying something, but you don't want to say it just in case. Yes, Lisa O'Neill. And she was wearing one of Tom's sun pendants. Fabulous. So we're starting tonight, or continuing tonight, and we are, of course, reading P.W. Joyce's A Social History of Ancient Ireland, published in 1903. We are getting very close now to the end of the book. That's all that we've read to date, and that's all that we have left. So there's the basis of probably 4 or 5 or 6 episodes left, and then we'll have to find something else to do and read. But don't worry, there's plenty of stuff. So excellent. Paul Campbell is single-handedly going to triple the audience on the live stream by sharing this to numerous groups and pages. Brilliant. Excellent, Paul. I'm looking forward to meeting you. We'll have to get the old photograph together. The pagan Irish, like the ancient Britons, practiced from time immemorial, long before the introduction of Christianity, the art of working in bronze, silver, gold, and enamel. An art which had become highly developed in Ireland by the time St. Patrick and his fellow missionaries arrived. Some of the antique Irish articles made in pagan times show great mastery over metals and exquisite skill in design and execution. Of course, all of the sources in this book are pre-1903, but there's a footnote saying here, see on this Ms. Stokes' Early Christian Art in Ireland, pages 53 to 56. See also description and illustrations of gold gorgets in chapter 22, section 3, infra. There is a volume 2 of this, so I'm going to have to get that. Yeah, it seems a shame to finish on volume 1, especially considering it's so brilliant. Sorry, just checking something here now. Rabbit hole. So there is part 2, volume 1, part 1, part 2. Presume volume 2 also has 2 parts. Yeah, wow, what an amazing, amazingly comprehensive work. Joyce was a fabulous scholar for his era. His output was quite incredible. Sorry, where am I here? Yes, climbing out of the rabbit hole and back into the real world. This permit, hang on a second. Rex Fortenberry is saying, howdy all. I'm really confused now. Was wearing shorts and flip-flops yesterday, expecting a foot of snow tomorrow. Netflix, take me away. Wow, that's some change. Volume 2, damn. Is that a good damn or a bad damn? But we can throw in some other stuff in between now. And I did buy volume 2 accidentally last year. Thought I was getting volume 1 we were reading. Yeah, I don't have volume 2 in my library, so that is a deficiency. I was watching an old Time Team the other day, says Lily Shambles, and they suggested that perhaps monks made the most of sunny days while working on manuscripts. Yeah, I can't imagine what it must have been like in a 10th, for instance, century or 11th century scriptorium in a cold stone small room in a monastery in Ireland with the wind howling in the door and the rain falling outside. It must have been cold. And then the concentration needed and the light, of course. And we talked about eyesight, didn't we? When we were talking about the penmanship a couple of episodes ago. You know that, I mean, when I write and I use, sometimes I handwrite, sometimes I use my typewriters, sometimes I use the computer. When I'm using my typewriters, and especially when I'm handwriting, I have 2 lamps here on the desk, one here and one here, and then there's ceiling lights here and shelf lights. And I need all of those on. I can't write if there's any sort of a lack of light at all. Imagine living in an era when you had to write, and not just write, but what's the word? Create a work of art in one of those manuscripts, and to do so neatly and tidily, but to do so with very little light and probably with very little heat. It must have been quite a challenge. We can only imagine. Probably, damn, I have to buy another book. Yeah. That's Alexi, yes. Can you adapt the flip-flops to become snowshoes? A good suggestion, Brendan. You see, this is why I like the Tua. We are full of brilliant suggestions. We're a bunch of very brainy individuals. We could probably solve most of the world's problems. Burr Whelan is in the house. Hello, Burr. Good evening to you. Hi, Anthony. Hi, Tua. Yes, indeed. Welcome. Nagati Arihi is saying, Tua, people, a very good evening to you from the Boyne Valley. Thank you for joining us. By the way, I just want to mention, says Rocio. Is that pronounced, you know, the C it's Spanish in Mexico that you speak, isn't it? It's not Portuguese, it's Spanish, yeah. Rocio. It's a bit like gracias. You place the tongue against the teeth to enunciate the C, is that right? Rocio. Is that how you would say it? Please forgive me if it's not, but I genuinely am interested in learning. By the way, I announced a couple of episodes ago, and I'm still reading it and greatly enjoying it, what is considered by many writers and linguists and students of literature and professors of literature the first European novel, and that is Don Quixote, and really enjoying it. Here in Mexico, there's a commemorative plaque in honor to Irish soldiers that fought with us against American soldiers. I'll share more info on the Mythical Ireland Facebook. Brilliant. Fascinating. The Irish, it's a funny thing. Yeah. We went around the place and sometimes fighting for the underdog, and, you know, yeah, extraordinary stuff. Valentina Bernardi is saying, good evening from misty Glastonbury, the Isle of Avalon. Reputed resting place of King Arthur, am I wrong? Reputed resting place of Ireland's St. Patrick, believe it or not, Glastonbury Abbey. Valentina, good to see you. I hope the tour is not too cloud-shrouded tonight. Mavanwi, you know me well. My Irish books have quadrupled in the last few years, and who gets the blame for that? Yeah, sorry about that. I've been encouraging you all. And then you see me with a book and you just say, oh, I need that one. I have to have that one. There's no way I could possibly survive without it. Anne McCallum, you missed my hello, Anton. So short version. Hello, Anton. I'm terribly sorry, Anne McCallum. I feel ashamed. I very rarely miss anyone's hello, but especially not yours. We just need more bookcases. Mine are lined up on one of my desks now. I won't tell you where there's stacks of books in this house. Del Curtis is saying hello from Nasnari, Nace of the Kings. Del, good evening to you. Yes, it is Spanish, but Mexican Spanish. Rocio is pronounced Rocio, making emphasis on the or on the first O, Rocio. And is it still that Rocio, or is it Rocio or Rothio? Ro is where the emphasis. Do I say it like that? No. What was it? It's your fault, Anthony, especially those book episodes. Dangerous. Yeah, must do more of those. Yes, I would be very glad to do more of those. Barb Jordan is in the house. Hello, Barb. Thank you for sending the hearts. Hope you're in good form. Now, I'm just scrolling back up because of my deep disappointment and shame in myself for missing this. Anne McCallum, welcome to Live Irish Myths. Hello, Anton, and all the mighty Tua from a freezing cold, minus 18 Celsius, full windy day. Just getting on Facebook now. Glad to be indoors now. Had to get new gas boiler. Lads, just finished installing it this afternoon. Hot water, heat. Well, I'm glad. What a time for the gas boiler to give up the ghost, you know? Yeah, so we're glad that you're safe and warm, Anne, and that you're here to enjoy our exploration of the past and a few dad jokes along the way. One of the things the monks did to stay warm was heat stones and use them the way we use hot water bottles. One under their feet would be welcome on a chilly day. Wow, yeah, good idea. You know, whatever you need to do to stay warm, you know. I don't need more books. The books need me. That's what I always say, you know. They need me. Some of them sitting on the shelves of second-hand bookshops. unloved, abandoned by their previous owners. This primitive art was continued into Christian times. Primitive is probably a poor word here, Patrick Weston Joyce, and was brought to its highest perfection in the 10th and 11th centuries. As in writing, says the German scholar Dr. Wattenbach, so likewise in music, in goldsmiths' work of all kinds, and in carving, the Scots (brackets Irish) have been celebrated from olden times, and in those arts, plural, they have also been the teachers of the industrious monks of St. Gall. And that's quoted from the Ulster Journal of Archaeology, Volume 7. I hate to miss people, Anne, especially you, because you're always so nice. This episode will just prove that someone nicked all our Wicklow gold to go along with the quartz that was nicked earlier. Surely they left some, Brendan. You don't have to answer that, because perhaps in answering that, maybe you wear a lot of gold around you. I don't know. I'm joking, of course. And for Don Quixote, you nailed the Don, and then it's Quixote. Quixote. The U in Qui is muted. Yeah, Don Quixote. I'm not sure. Yes. Anyway, forgive me. I'm but a mere, not even a student of the languages. I'm what you call a novice, an absolute beginner in many respects. Artistic metalwork continued to flourish to about the end of the 12th century, but gradually declined after that, owing to the general disorganization of society consequent to the Anglo-Norman invasion and to the want of encouragement. Of course, I suspect, could be maybe partly speculating here, but I suspect that, after the Anglo-Norman invasion, when the clans, the old septs, basically lost their grip on power in certainly in the east of the country and the southeast, and in parts of Ulster. Sorry, I just have to send somebody a phone number here. That it may have been that that was a huge factor in why metalwork waned at that time. Sorry. Apologies about the interruption. But we may hear more about that momentarily. I'm not sure whether we will or not. You would imagine that, in the time of the kings, they liked to wear a bit of bling. Bling for the kings. I'm thinking of Avenged Sevenfold. Bling for the kings. Yeah. Hail to the king. But gradually, blah, 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 blah. A great variety of gold ornaments may be seen in the National Museum. Of course, I've been telling you, if you're coming to Ireland, you've got to go to the National Museum in Dublin, the National Museum of Archaeology in Kildare Street. It's free to enter, and you will see the most extraordinary collection of treasures. Many of beautiful workmanship, which will be noticed in chapter 22, section 3. What chapter is this, as a matter of interest? Because I presume that's in volume 2, which I don't have. This is chapter 16, yeah, so it's obviously in volume 2. But I will get my hands on volume 2 before too long. The ornamental designs of metalwork executed by Christian artists were generally similar to those used in manuscripts. For, as has been observed, interlaced ornamentation, whether in penwork, on stone, or in metals, came in with Christianity. And the execution was distinguished by the same exquisite skill and masterly precision. The pre-Christian artists exercised their skill in making and ornamenting shields, swords, sword hilts, chariots, brooches, bridles, etc., etc. Our oldest records testify to the manufacture of these articles by skilled artists in remote pagan times, and the numerous exquisite specimens of their handiwork in our museums fully corroborate these accounts. I forgot to say, do you remember last week? Wasn't it last week? I was looking for my copy of the book of Kells, and I went over there specifically to that section. I was like, this is where it is, and spent a little bit of time looking for it, and then came back, said dejected, and said, no, I can't find it. It's definitely here somewhere. Finished the episode, stood up to put one of the other books back, and immediately spotted the Book of Kells book, which I had failed to notice only a minute earlier, or a few minutes earlier, and this was after I'd stopped streaming. So actually, yes, rabbit hole. Needs a bit of a dusting, actually. That is the book I was planning to show you, the Book of Kells, described by Sir Edward Sullivan. And this, a slightly older publication, I believe, published in 1986, reprinted 88, 90, and 1995. And there are a number of, but not a huge amount of, full page reproductions of some of the folios from the Book of Kells, the Virgin and Child, folio 7V, portion of the argument to the Gospel of St. John, folio 19V. Look at the capital letter and how extraordinarily exquisite and detailed that is. The evangelical symbols, I think we did show that, didn't we, from one of the other books last week? Was that the Treasures of the National Museum or one of the other books? I can't remember. Portrait of St. Matthew, folio 28V. So we're backtracking here. I should have showed you this. Was that last week or the week before? Last week we were talking about metal, but the week before, wasn't it? We were talking about penmanship. Early medieval penwork and illumination. So 2 weeks ago, this is what I should have been showing you. The opening words of St. Matthew's Gospel, folio 29, or look at that. That entire page is, I believe, one letter. Unbelievable. The 8-circled cross. The monogram page, folio 34, or extraordinary stuff. Really, really fabulous. A page of the text, folio 104, or, and you can see that it's not just a matter of just writing the script. The flourishes are extraordinary, and there's a peacock there, look. Look at the flourishes on the capital letters and the colouring. Amazing. Plate XI, Tunc Cru Sifexeront. No, it's not French, Anthony. It's probably Latin. Cum et eodu os latrones. I don't know what that's supposed to say, but anyway. I am not, unfortunately, a scholar of Latin. There's more evangelical symbols. The opening word. Oh no, hang on. Am I missing a page? Feels like I am. Yep. The opening words of St. Mark's Gospel, folio 130, or. The opening word of St. Luke's Gospel. That entire page is one word, apparently. And there's the genealogy of Christ. Anyway, fascinating stuff. I wanted to show you that 2 weeks ago, but I couldn't find it. And it was just over there, literally in full view. Easy to find. Now, let us backtrack a little bit to see who else has joined us, because I think there was a couple of people. Good man, John Main. Glad to hear that you are improving. Michael Trott, Kia ora tua from a damp Auckland Tuesday morning. A wonderful folio book there. An extraordinary creative. Good morning to you, Michael. Happy Tuesday to you. It's wet. It's 9 degrees here in the Boyne Valley, and it's wet. It's raining, but we're not complaining too loudly because it's absolutely freezing. It's Baltic. It's Arctic across much of the United States. The Book of Kells. Every time I have visitors, I take them there for sure. I never tire of seeing it, says Josie, and they open a different page every time under glass. The colours are still striking. Yeah, well worth going to see in Trinity College. Wonder how long to complete one page. Some of those pages, I don't know. Did they take days? Did they take weeks? Did they take months? Hey, Social History Volume 2, matching hardback is $43.95 on Amazon US. Ordered. Paperback $39.99. Yeah. Actually, must just when I get paid. P.W. Joyce, Social History Volume 2. Ancient Social History Volume 2. £37.49. That's hardcover, yeah. So what's the paperback? Soft paper, £40.65. I think when I bought that at the time, that cost me less than €15. Anyway, we'll see. Yeah, same old problem. Awesome book. Want, says Avania Lee. Avania, hello and good morning to you also. Apologies if I missed. I'm just trying to... Ola Conrad thinks that she has snuck in late, which prompts me to reach for the draw and bring out dun, 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 the Lilac Book. Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition. Our chief weapon's a surprise, and what is it? Surprise, efficiency, or ruthless devotion to the Pope. All of that, yes. Sneaking in late, yes. Don't worry. Late as often. Didn't attend. No, I wonder about sumptuary laws. John Inman is in the house also. A lot of people have joined in the past few minutes. I was busy showing you some plates from the Book of Kells. Don't worry, I'm also a novice in terms of languages, says Rossio. I'm also a novice, and sometimes I butcher the English too. I don't want to imagine if I tried to learn Irish. Yeah, Irish and English are very, very different. Indira Stefaniana is in the house. I studied harp with Mildred Dilling, and she said always have at least 150 watts of light while reading. She was Christian Scientist and taught Harpo Marx, to whom she gave license to call from anywhere in the world, anytime for a lesson by phone. She kept fine eyesight and introduced harp to various countries. She had at least 150 harps in her Manhattan living room. Wow! Many sizes in her world collection. The harp I felt immediately drawn to had belonged to Marie Antoinette. Mildred and I planned to visit Thailand together, where she went every year to raise funds for leprosy, which was given charity by the royal family there. Mildred lived vigorously into her 80s, read in bed every night, and folded her glasses and turned off her bright light. She would say, I go to sleep like a queen and wake like a peasant. I wonder if Dilling is an Irish name. Dilling isn't Dillon, I think. Dilling, yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think so. It's not familiar. Yeah, extraordinary. 150 watts. Well, there you go. I think I've kind of probably matched that with all the lights that are around the reading and writing desk here. Not as cool as a black book. Well, that can be arranged. There's too many people sneaking in late. I'm joking, of course. Nah. The red book is full, so that's because you were all very bold. You filled it from beginning to end. In addition to these... Did I read all that? Yes, I said. Our oldest records testify to the manufacture of these articles by skilled artists in remote pagan times, and the numerous exquisite specimens of their handiwork in our museums fully corroborate these those accounts. In addition to these, the Christian artists, who were chiefly but not exclusively ecclesiastics, made crosses, croziers, chalices, bells, brooches, shrines, or boxes to hold books or bells or relics, and book satchels in which the two materials, metal and leather, were used. Specimens of all these, many of them of very remote antiquity, may be seen in the National Museum in Dublin. The three most remarkable, as well as the most beautiful and most elaborately ornamented objects in this museum are the Ardagh Chalice, the Tara Brooch, and the Cross of Cong, all made by Christian artists. Are they sure the Tara Brooch was made by Christian artists? I'm sure they are, and I'm sure they wouldn't say it lightly, without evidence. But many of the articles in the museum belonging to pagan times, both of gold and of mixed metals, especially the golden gorgets, exhibit elaborate and beautiful workmanship. The Ardagh Chalice, which is 7 inches high and 9.5 inches in diameter at the top, was found a few years ago buried in the ground under a stone in an old lish or fort at Ardagh in the County Limerick. Beyond this, nothing is known of its history. It is elaborately ornamented with designs in metal and enamel, and judging from its shape and from its admirable workmanship, it was probably made some short time before the 10th century. It is very fully described in a paper by the late Earl of Dunraven in volume 24 of the Transactions of the Royal Irish Academy, and in 2 communications from Dr. W. K. Sullivan and Mr. Edmund Johnson of Dublin, both included in Lord Dunraven's paper. Mark Gordon is saying, good day from the frozen North Iowa. It sounds like most of the states are Arctic at this time. Excuse me, Mark. So stay warm and stay safe, you know. The Tara Brooch was found in 1850 by a child on the Strand near Drogheda. It is ornamented all over with amber, glass, and enamel. By the way, Drogheda is right here. Tara Brooch was found out at the river estuary between Mornington and Bettystown. I'll repeat that sentence. It is ornamented all over with amber, glass, and enamel, and with the characteristic Irish filigree or interlaced work in metal. From its style of workmanship, it seems obviously contemporaneous with the Ardagh Chalice. Well, I think that view has changed, because I think the Tara Brooch is now dated to the 7th century. He says here the Ardagh Chalice, I think, didn't he say is dated to the 10th? Some short time before the 10th century. I don't think they're contemporaneous, though. I don't think that's still the view, but I could find out when we finish the chapter. Maybe just prompt me to have a look for more information about that. In the old Irish romances, we constantly read that the mantle of both men and women was fastened at the throat by a large ornamental brooch. Many of these old brooches are preserved, and by the way, the Tara Brooch is just one of a number of brooches that are on display in the National Museum. It happens to be the most elaborately and beautifully decorated. But the one now under notice is by far the most perfect and beautiful of all. No drawing can give any adequate idea of the extraordinary delicacy and beauty of the work on this brooch, which is perhaps the finest specimen of ancient metalwork remaining in any country. Wow, that's some boast. So if you are interested, I have a video showing, basically it's a walk and a zoom in of the Tara Brooch at the National Museum, which I'm glad to share with you. It's on the Mythical Ireland YouTube channel, but I'll just paste it in there as a comment, so you can click that and have a look at it at your leisure. But I answered my question, but only late Middle Ages. Not sure what that's about, John, but I'm just going to go back through comments here, see what I missed. I was really going to say that too, says Lexi. I'm not sure what that's about. Adina Sparks, Facebook is really stupid today. I can't see many of the comments. Yours only showed up in the My Replies section. Hey, yeah. Facebook, don't even get me started. Is the Lilac book because is the F word book? Puts the fear of God in everyone, apparently. Lilac book is so wimpy. Yeah, no, don't worry. I'm going to get I think I'll get a black one. I think the red is only mildly threatening. I think a black one, has all that sort of threatening darkness about it, But anyway, we'll see. The Lilac book. No, it just hasn't. It hasn't. I don't think I've used it to take any names. Because it's a bit wimpy. The Cross of Cong, which is 2 feet 6 inches high, was a processional cross made to enshrine a piece of the true cross. It is all covered over with elaborate ornamentation of pure Celtic design, and a series of inscriptions in the Irish language along the sides give its full history. It was made by order of Turlough O'Connor, King of Connacht, for the Church of Tuam, then governed by Archbishop Murdoch O'Duffy. The accomplished artist who finished his work in 1123 and who deserves to be remembered to all time was Melissa MacBradon O'Hechan. O'Hechan? Yeah, Hechan without a fodder. It's not Hechon, it's Hechan. O'Hechan. Sorry. Some of the finest of the metalwork is exhibited on the shrines, of which many specimens are preserved in the National Museum in Dublin. Of these, 2 have already been mentioned, those of St. Maidoch and St. Patrick's Bell. An engraving of this last splendid specimen of ancient Irish metalwork forms the frontispiece of our 2nd volume. Another very remarkable one, probably made in the beginning of the 12th century, is the shrine of St. Moncon of Lamanna in Kings County. St. Moncon. Moncon McGann, there you go. There was a saint called Moncon. Now and from time immemorial, kept in the Roman Catholic Church of Boher in the parish of Lamanahan. It is profusely decorated with the usual Irish ornamentation, and there were originally 52 bronze figures of laymen and ecclesiastics formed in high relief, fastened on the 2 sloping sides, of which only 10 remain. 5 of these figures are pictured elsewhere in this book. A restored model, heavily gilt as the shrine itself originally was, with the whole 52 figures, may be seen in the National Museum. In 1896, Mr. Edmund Johnson of Dublin, a practical goldsmith and jeweller, made a detailed examination of some Irish gold ornaments belonging to remote pre-Christian times, and wrote a most useful and interesting memorandum on the modes of working in use among the ancient Irish goldsmiths, and that's Proceedings of the Royal Irish Academy, 1893 to 1896, page 780. If you're interested. He believes that the fuel used must have been birch charcoal, which gave the highest temperatures within reach of those old cards. Interesting. Tom King is taking notes as we speak, I'm sure. With the appliances then available, neither coal nor anthracite gave sufficient heat to melt gold. And he says that the remembered birch charcoal used for this purpose, and he says that he remembered birch charcoal used for this purpose in his father's workshop. A furnace of about 1 cubic foot internal measurement would, as he states, be sufficient. It was filled with the charcoal, having the crucible buried in the center of the glowing mass. And even with this, some flux, such as nitre or borax, would be required to melt the gold. It would, he says, be necessary to have a small orifice at the base for a bellows of considerable power, which agrees with our own inference about an ordinary forge fire, that the orifice for the bellows pipe was in the centre of the bottom, or in the bottom of one of the side flags. There you go. Tom is listening intently, taking notes as we go along. Mr. Johnson shows that such tube-shaped articles as the fibula or bonidoat, is it A-L or A-T? It looks like A-T. Of all of pagan times, were made of several pieces, each of which was first cast roughly and then hammered on shaped anvil surfaces into the required form. After the pieces had been made to accurately fit each other, they were sweated or welded together by surface melting, never soldered. Mr. Johnson's observation about the practice of shaping gold by hammering is corroborated by the old records. In the Book of the Dun Cow, the gipne or frontlet worn by the charioteer leg is compared for its colour to gold hammered over the edge of an anvil. And for more about that, see Kilkenny Archaeological Journal, 1870 to 71, page 424. If you have it in your library. I don't have it in mine. The ornamentation, which consists, as already observed, of lines, circles, spirals, lozenges, etc., was not done by engraving with a sharp tool, but by hammer and chisel. Some concentric rings on the buttons or cups at the two ends of the fibulae are so true that they must, he says, have been turned on a lathe, which also agrees with the statements as to the knowledge and use of the lathe in chapter 24, section 5, infra, and that's in volume 2, which we'll get to at some point in the future. So I need to get birch charcoal. Thanks, Anthony. Exactly, Brendan. Michael Pike says, Anthony, I think that the Lilac book is more serious than the Black or Red book. At first glance, one thinks, wimpy was the word. But I think it goes deeper than that, more subtle, with increased power to strike fear into the hearts of the mighty Tua. Yeah. No. Maybe. Yes. Shake with fear or laughter, Michael, asks Brendan. What is your favourite colour? That would have to be green, wouldn't it? Green and blue, I think. Which shade of blue, I couldn't tell you. I like sort of darkish, almost navy blues. It was normally oak trees, wild coal was the best. Did they run out or not able to use that by the time? I'm not sure, Evania, but I don't think they ran out. Certainly no lack of oak trees in Ireland until Elizabethan times, within the past 500 years. So I don't think it would have been a lack of coal. He seems to suggest that birch charcoal is the best because it gives the highest temperature within reach. Mr. Johnson states that the tools and appliances necessary to produce these gold ornaments were furnace, charcoal, crucible, mould for the roughly cast ingot, flux, bellows, several hammers, anvils, swage anvil, i.e. an anvil shaped for moulding by hammering, chisels for impressing ornament, sectional tool for producing concentric rings, also a lathe. All these, it is to be remembered, in remote pagan times. Certain beautiful ornaments on one of the specimens quite puzzled Mr. Johnson as to how they were produced with the tools then at the disposal of workmen. None of his workmen, some of the best gold workers anywhere to be found, could produce them with the tools in question. Wow. And there is more about metalworkers in Volume 2 of A Social History of Ancient Ireland, which, as I've been saying in this episode, I do not yet have possession of, but I will have at some point. But we probably, when we finish this, will go on to a different work and then come back to Volume 2 of this at some stage. The last section of this chapter on religion, learning, and art is called stone carving. So a little bit different to the metal. A few pages left. A stone carver was called tully, from tull, a hole. Tullum, I bore, B-O-R-E, pierce or perforate. Stone carvers are mentioned in the 8th century Milan Irish glosses. Oniv tulliv bitche och kulfchuk son, by the stone cutters engaged in building. Artistic stone carving is chiefly exhibited in the great stone crosses, of which about 55 still remain in various parts of Ireland. One peculiarity of the Irish Celtic cross is a circular ring around the intersection, binding the arms together. This peculiar shape was developed in Ireland, and once formed it remained fixed from the 8th or 9th century to the 12th. "32 of the 55 existing crosses are richly ornamented, and 8 have inscriptions with the names of persons who have been identified as living at various times, from AD 904 to AD 1150. Ms. Stokes gives the dates of the high stone crosses as extending over a period from the 10th to the 13th century inclusive. Besides the ornamentation, most of the high crosses contain groups of figures representing various subjects of sacred history, such as the crucifixion, the fall of man, Noah in the ark, the sacrifice of Isaac, the fight of David and Goliath, the arrest of our Lord, the crucifixion of St. Peter head downward, Eve presenting the apple to Adam, the journey to Egypt, etc. These sculptures were iconographic, that is to say, they were intended to bring home to the minds of the unlettered people the truths of religion and the facts of scripture history by vivid illustration, something like the representations of the Stations of the Cross in Roman Catholic churches in the present day, or of the present day. No doubt the preachers in their discourses directed attention to these representations, and perhaps they often lectured standing at the foot of the cross with the people ranged in front, the preacher pointing to the several sculptured groups as he went on, and as occasion required. It is probable that the groups were painted in colours, so as to bring them out more distinctly. And of course, all of those crosses being outside in the weather, all sign of colour has been washed away into history, into the mists of time. This practice of teaching by pictorial or sculptured representation was common in all Christian countries and prevails everywhere at the present day. The churches, writes Ms. Stokes in her paper on Christian iconography in Ireland, were to be the books. The churches were to be the books of the unlearned, as St. John Damascene has said of sculptured images. The learned have them as a kind of book which is for the use of the unlearned and ignorant. As for the ornamentation of the high crosses, it is still of the same general Celtic character that we find in metalwork and in illuminated manuscripts, and it exhibits the same masterly skill and ease both in design and execution. A few high crosses of the Irish shape are found in the south of Scotland and in the north of England, but they are obviously imitations of those in Ireland made by Irish artists or under the influence of Irishmen. The progress made, is that for me, Ivania? No, I don't think, I'll tell you exactly what he said, yeah, just to clarify. This is, Joyce was quoting Mr. Edmund Johnson, a practical goldsmith and jeweller who in 1896 made a detailed examination of some Irish gold ornaments belonging to remote pre-Christian times. He wrote a most useful and interesting memorandum on the modes of working in use among the ancient Irish goldsmiths. He believes that the fuel used must have been birch charcoal, which gave the highest temperature within reach of those old cairds. So he's not saying it was the only thing at hand. He's saying, Johnson is saying he believes that that's what they used. The progress made by the ancient Irish in sculpture may be best described in the substance of Petrie's words as recorded by Dr. William Stokes. Many evidences, Petrie observes, may be found of the Irish having possessed great proficiency in this art before the 10th century. This is shown chiefly in the carved tombstones and in the stone crosses. Statues, properly so called, were not introduced for some centuries later. Monumental effigies appear to have been brought in by the Anglo-Normans. And again, true it is that in the drawing of the human figure, as seen in the older manuscripts and in scriptures, whether in stone or in metal, it is easy to perceive a deficient power of execution and design. But even with such defects, the old Irish artists are often most successful in expression. The bas-reliefs of ecclesiastics and of holy women in their early costumes on the shrine of St. Maidoc are of an execution marvellously delicate. The expression of the countenances is in a high degree felicitous and varied. And to come to later times, the crowned effigies of O'Brien and O'Connor at Corcomroe and Roscommon Abbeys exhibit a power of sculpture which may compare with anything of the same date in England. So the same admirable quality of expression may be seen in the figure of the Saviour on the cross of Tuam and in many other examples. Churches and round towers have been noticed in chapter 10, and dwelling houses and fortresses will be treated of in chapter 20. More about workers in stone, see chapter 24. So the next section will be about music. But we're not going there now. Erica River Tree, Trnonawa, Fáilte Isteach, Mochara, hope you're in good form. Welcome. Happy New Year, if I didn't say that to you already. Anyway, questions, comments, and other diversionary rabbit holes, welcome. Yes. This. So let me just briefly show you. We've seen, well, okay, we haven't, so I'll show it to you, but you may have viewed the video about the Tara Brooch already. I'm just trying to find the Ardagh Chalice and the Cross of Cong so that I can show you images of them. If you bear with me, I'm just reading this wonderful volume, Treasures of the National Museum of Ireland. Derrina Flan Chalice. The Ardagh Chalice. There we go. There, my dear folks. Ardagh Chalice. and detail on that page. That's the Ardagh Chalice. I'm looking for the Tara Brooch, which is there. See more detail in the video I shared. Just for the newcomers, I'll just share a link to that again. And a close-up video showing you lots of detail from the Tara Brooch. And I'm just looking for the Cross of Cong. Can I find it? Now that I'm under pressure to find it, do I have to go to the index? It seems that I do. $217 to $218. Yes, it hasn't got a picture. Okay, where is it pictured then? 249. Apologies. Yes, there on the right, that is the Cross of Cong. There you go. Yeah. So, yeah, we really are blessed with an embarrassment of riches, treasures, archaeological relics dating from Christian and pre-Christian times. I'm going to try and make a Tara brooch, but in silver. Can't afford gold at $2,500 an ounce. Yeah. Wow. Well, good luck with that. Excuse me. And I wonder, will the final item be for sale? Just imagine how much it will be, but good luck. And yeah, tell us how you get on with it. It'll be an interesting process. That is not the sort of thing you're going to do in a day or two or a week or two, I suspect. That's a longer project. It'll be beautiful in silver. Yes, it will indeed. Yes. Would the person that extracted the gold and smelted it be the same person that created the beautiful object? Honestly, couldn't tell you. Brendan, good question. I don't imagine so. Because if you're the skilled metal worker, it's hardly likely that you're also mining and I don't know. I will endeavor to try and find out, but I don't immediately know. No, not for sale. I'll send photos. Brilliant. Can't wait to see those. That'll be something else. It'll be sublime, I'm sure. Good job you've got volume 2 on the way, Lexi. You'll be able to read about those workers in stone and get ahead. Yeah, it's always funny to me when someone refers to other people as pagan or savages. It's something you don't see now in archaeological and historical texts, modern ones. You don't see that division that you saw before into Christian and pre-Christian or Christian and pagan Ireland. You know, what used to be referred to as the early Christian period in archaeology is now referred to as the early medieval period. Taken the religiosity out of it. And yeah, it tends to be a derogatory term, really, you know. But then, as you say, when you see their arts, crafts, music, writing codes, etc., I'm like, nah, this meticulous work says something else. It certainly says they weren't savages. Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, in terms of the discussion about Duolingo and learning Irish, it would be absolutely massively beneficial when you're learning Irish to be able to speak Oscailga with a person who speaks the language fluently. Duolingo is helpful to a degree, and it will help you learn words, but it won't, as it were, help you speak the language, you know. And as with all these things, there are subtleties in the dialects and pronunciations as well, which makes it even more difficult, you know. I don't think so, says Barbara. Miners are different than artisans. I would have thought so, yeah. I would have thought so. I just don't know for sure. Mariana Dunn says, thank you, Anthony, for today's enlightening episode. You're very welcome. Actually, I wonder, maybe even a book like this, like the Treasures of the National Museum, it's got lots of text in it. So maybe somewhere along the line, it addresses that question. Maybe, you know, or discusses it at the very least. Yeah. The Orkney Age. Let me just take the briefest of scans through the text just to see if there's any mention of it. No, not that I can immediately see, but then there's lots of it, so I'd have to do more reading. Maybe somebody else knows the answer already. Duolingo doesn't do a connected conversation. I think that is a big mistake. Yeah, that's it. You have to actually speak the living language with a person who's fluent to really learn it properly. You know. Thank you, Elaine. You're very welcome. Hope that the temperatures get a bit warmer in Mexico and soon. But I don't get any price breaks. Yeah, can't imagine that silver is exactly cheap either to buy by the ounce. It's funny to me. Just read an article from the Dublin Penny Journal. This is Ivania Lee, Volume 1, Number 39, March 23rd, 1833, that refers to the style of art as mongrel style under barbarous, and that plastic is best. I strongly disagree. Love the barbarous style. Yeah. Okay. Well, that there was a time, and it lasted for several centuries, when the so-called experts of their day looked at everything that had been built and created and produced in a prehistoric Ireland as barbarous and rude, and mongrel. So yeah, take that with a not just a pinch of salt, but perhaps a bucket of salt. Lexi is saying, my husband is a mining engineer, gold, silver, and some copper. Well, maybe he could get you the gold. Tell him to dig you up a few, what do you call it? Nuggets? Ingots? Ingots is when you melt it down into a bar or something, isn't it? Anyway, just to close out the discussion, before I go out and put the bins out, as Lily is reminding me. Thanks, Lily. We'll hopefully see you next week. The art was called Barbarian Art in Art History. Very inspiring episode, says Tom King. So looking forward to developing a foundry where the Boyne Valley will once again see molting bronze used in patterns for arrowheads and spears. That would be a monumental limestone in the forge of the Smooth Road. Sorry, a monumental milestone, not limestone. Brilliant. Looking forward to that, Tom. Great that you're inspired. Hope you're getting a breather. Yeah, hope we see you soon. And I'm sure you're knocking them dead up there. And I hope you're making loads of sales. What happens in the past should stay in the past is a funny thing to say to your credit card company. The moment when you call and ask to speak to the head idiot and you're put through to your own voicemail. What's the difference between an outlaw and an in-law? Outlaws are wanted. Good night, folks. Thank you very much for joining us. We will see you hopefully next week for more. And more Joyce, but very little of that left in volume 1. So we'll be reading something else for a while, and we'll maybe throw in a few extra sort of episodes with different subjects, and including the one that I have to get back to, which is in relation to looking for new translations of the manuscript material. Anyway, have a great week, folks. Stay safe, stay warm if you're in the States, and thank you for joining us. All that remains for me to say at this point is Ichawa Kolosov Slán go fóil agus tó go bogé.